Hello, my name is Oscar Montenegro, and the topic I chose to talk about today for our assignment is anxiety. I chose this topic because anxiety is something that we all deal with from one point to another. Whether it be during school, work, or just life in general, anxiety is something that challenges us all. I feel it is important to know what causes it because the more we educate ourselves about what causes it, the more we can help and the more we can prevent anxiety from affecting our lives more than it has to. I will be going over different things like what is anxiety, how it is diagnosed medically, what causes it, how we can cope with it, and how I personally cope with anxiety and kind of my story about anxiety in general. Now, what is anxiety? Anxiety is your body's natural response to stress, to feeling of fear or apprehension about what's to come. Anxiety could be a feeling of dread, a feeling of uneasiness. You don't necessarily have to know what's causing that uneasiness either. It's just like a feeling of constant fear. And sometimes it could be fear of the unknown. Um, and it makes it very difficult to get through your day. You can't focus on anything from big to small. It's like the way you can relate to it. Imagine tabs are opening in your head, and the more you try to solve those tabs or get rid of them, the more pop up. It makes it hard to sleep. It makes it hard to think because your mind is racing and it's at 1,000 places at once. That's the way I kind of think about it. So that's basically what anxiety is. And next, we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be talking about how it's diagnosed. So to diagnose an anxiety disorder, a doctor performs a physical exam and asks about your symptoms, and they recommend a blood test as well in more serious cases. Um, Also, a complete personal history is also necessary for your doctor because, anxiety is more people who have been through certain situations like mental abuse, physical abuse, someone who's, for example, has been to war and they've seen things and they have PTSD. These type of people are more susceptible to anxiety than just like the average person. Not to say that the average person doesn't deal with their fair share of anxiety. Uh, these other people that I named right now are more susceptible to it, and it could be diagnosed by a doctor or yourself. Um, there's not really any rule book on it, but that's basically how it's diagnosed. So, what causes it? Anxiety may be caused by a mental condition, physical condition, the effects of drugs, stressful life events, or a combination of all of these. It could be past childhood experiences. So, like I said before, mental abuse, physical abuse. It could be your current life situation that's causing stress or anxiety. For instance, if you don't have enough money to pay bills, that can cause a sense of uneasiness, a sense of constant anxiety about what's to come. I know me personally, whenever I have fear about what's to come or whenever I don't know what to expect, I tend to be filled with anxiety. Um, and different drugs and medication can also make your anxiety worse. For instance, for me, caffeine, um, it makes my heart race. I have really bad anxiety and it doesn't go away very easily. Maybe takes 5, 6, sometimes 7 hours to get over, but it's something that is not the best. So if you figure out what triggers it, you can cut back on those things. For instance, I don't drink caffeine anymore, so I can avoid that. A lot of other things cause it. Um, a buildup of smaller situations tends to cause a big anxiety outburst, or or a panic attack. So something you could do is take care of these small stressful situations when they come. Don't try to put them to the side. Talk to who you need to talk to, and that'll help immensely. How can we cope with it? You can learn to manage your triggers. You can go for a walk. Managing your triggers is big. As I said before, if you know what bothers you, know what triggers you, you can then, avoid those things. And when you avoid those things, you don't have to feel worried or have that anxiety about it because they're not in the picture. Getting enough sleep is also very, very important. And it is important because sleep is our body's way of shutting down and repairing. If you didn't know, we don't necessarily get energy from sleep. That comes from food. Sleep is a very interesting topic. It's still being studied on. We sleep so that our brains can kind of do a reboot and repair itself for the day that was before. So without this, you're more susceptible to being irritable. When you're irritable, your triggers for your anxiety are that much worse. Another thing, having a positive attitude. Not to say that anxiety is all mental and all in your head, but if you have a positive attitude towards different things, it makes it so much easier to deal with. If I had a negative attitude towards my anxiety, it would just feel that much worse. It'll make me miserable. If I'm constantly thinking positive, thinking that it won't last forever, it won't. And that's something that I learned, that if you keep a strong mentality towards it, you can't let it defeat you. Another thing that's important when dealing with anxiety is a diet. People who have high sugar diets are more susceptible to anxiety and depression. So if you have a clean diet, it'll help with your anxiety. Like I said, learning about your disorder is also very, very important. Avoiding caffeinated drinks, smoking, take time out to just relax and do nothing. All these things are different ways, but everyone deals with it in their own way. And there's no really any wrong way to deal with anxiety. So with my anxiety. Now, how I cope with my anxiety, I would say it got more serious around maybe like the beginning of quarantine. So like maybe March of 2020, we had no more football. So it was kind of I played football every year since I was born, or I wouldn't say since I was born, since I was young. So not having like a spring season or anything like that, it made me have to find new things to do, find new outlets to release any type of stress or anger I had. So I turned to music. I started listening to music a lot more, music that uplifts your soul and kind of puts you in a better headspace. I use lifting weights to kind of let out that physical aggression or frustration that I had. So the music was more mental and the weightlifting was more physical. And it's very hard to feel anxiety or worry if your body is dead tired and you're listening to great music. So that's how I cope with it. Everyone deals with it their own ways. There's not really a wrong way. So if it helps you, it helps you. I hope anxiety isn't something that is going to hold me back. I know I've been getting a lot better with it. Finding new things to do, always staying busy is something that I always recommend. Always setting short-term goals, as those build confidence and let me know that I'm on the right direction. But yeah, I also know that it doesn't last forever. For every rainy day, there's a sunny day, and it'll all be better. But yeah, so anyone that's dealing with anxiety, don't be afraid to talk to someone. It's very important to communicate any type of feelings, especially with anxiety, because, everyone deals with it. So if you're dealing with it, chances are someone else is dealing with it as well. Humans are social creatures, so if someone relates to a problem with you, it's that much easier to overcome. And yeah, it's been my presentation. Hope you guys liked it.